Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Wednesday morning. We start our show with a team badly in need of a victory. That was the Timberwolves, and lo and behold, they played a team that isn't trying to win last night. Indiana, despite the fact they're wearing some great throwbacks. Again, the Wolves were without Anthony Edwards, no Jaden McDaniels. Best thing about it is Indiana's not trying to win. How about a little poster from Ayo Dosunmu here? Leading scorer last night. He had 24, including that poster. Again, Indiana is actively trying to get the number one pick, and they did a heck of a job with it last night. Naz Reid with a straight-on three. Again, shots that weren't falling over the last week and a half went last night. Naz had 17 off the bench. Everybody played last night. Even Berger gets a dunk. Wolves roll 124-104 over Indiana to snap their three-game losing skid. Randall had 19. We mentioned Naz had 17. And because Phoenix helped out the Wolves last night, the Wolves had a magic number of 2 to clinch a playoff spot. They needed the Suns to lose and the Wolves to win. Any combination of 2, and they got that last night because the Rockets beat Phoenix. So the Wolves are in the top 6. Don't have to worry about the play-in or any of that next week. Now it's the question of who they're going to play. And I think we can safely say it's going to be Denver. The Lakers lost by $1 billion last night to the Thunder. Of course, the Lakers are without Luka. They're without Austin Reeves. LeBron didn't play last night. So, looks like the Lakers are actively going the other way. Denver, meanwhile, can't lose. The Nuggets have won 9 in a row. So, second time in 3 years, looks like we got a Wolves-Nuggets playoff matchup coming our way. And again, with home court coming to Denver, with the Nuggets getting healthy. Wolves have a game tonight with Orlando. And with that, we say good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hot Mic here on a Wednesday morning, the 8th day of April, or a full week into the month, and the showers have appropriately come after we got a foot of snow over the weekend. Great to be with everybody. Quick heads up here before we get going here on a busy Wednesday. We got an action pack. We got a ton of guests today. Really excited about our show lineup. I really want to appreciate and say thanks to all of our viewers, listeners that contributed to our show yesterday. I was thinking back on it after we got done. I was putting a couple things together for social media yesterday, and I posted a couple clips that we'll do more of those where we open it up a little bit more to our viewers and listeners that get some feedback. That couple topics we hit yesterday certainly, I think, struck with some people, and I appreciate that. I got some more feedback last night from a couple head coaches that were watching the show saying, hey, keep doing that. There is just a dearth of information that people don't know or they think they know, which we've tried to explain, I think, for the better part of 3 years on either the portal or NIL. So we'll do more of those going forward because I thought that was informational at best. That comes on the heels of a story today from Yahoo Sports' Ross Dellinger reporting the NCAA is exploring a significant change to its eligibility rule. Sources tell Yahoo the proposal creates an age-based standard. Athletes would have 5 years of eligibility from their 19th birthday or high school graduation. Means no red shirts, no waivers. They are going to discuss this as early as next week, that this could be implemented for this upcoming fall, which has drastic implications in football and men's basketball. As we sit here on day 2 of the men's basketball portal, and yesterday, we're getting off track because we got a lot to get to here, but I'm just going to tell you, yesterday there were a handful of Summit League players that went in the portal that have no eligibility remaining. Tony Osborne being one from Omaha, who's been there for 4 years. He's played 4 years of basketball. He went in the portal yesterday. You know why? Because he got a heads up this is coming, that this is likely going to pass. This would eliminate all the other lawsuits out there. You know, the Trinidad Chambliss lawsuit, all of this of trying to get an extra year of eligibility. There would be no more red shirts, right? You get 5 years to play 5. And that could drastically change. I'm just looking here in our own backyard, the North Dakota State quarterback situation for next season. Nathan Hayes suddenly would have maybe another year to play quarterback for the Bison. So we'll explore this, but that's the landmark NCAA news today here on a Wednesday. Just it's another day that ends in Y, where we got something going on, either with eligibility, the portal, or NIL. It never ceases to. That's why I said the off season is busier than the actual when the games are happening. There's always something going on. Something going on is a win streak at Target Field. Doesn't matter that nobody's at the games. Taj Bradley said it perfectly afterwards. So there wasn't many people here, but the people that were here were loud because the Twins have suddenly strung a couple together. And last night they did it against the Cy Young winner in the American League in Tarek Skubal and the Tigers. That shot is not flattering, again, for anybody that went to the ball game last night. We mentioned Skubal on the mound. Scoreless game into the bottom of the 5th, and then the Twins' bats got going. Luke Keyshaw with an RBI single. Gets Byron Buxton home. It's 1-0. Later in the inning, Ryan Jeffers had a interesting night behind the plate. Here, opposite field hitting. That'll get both Austin Martin and Keyshaw hustling around to score to make it 3-0. Josh Bell adds to it. He's a large man. Bloops one down the left field line. That's an RBI double. It's 4-0. They chase Skubal in the 5th inning. Doesn't even get 5 innings of work last night. Taj Bradley got some help from Jeffers. Jeffers, he challenges this one. That caught the corner of the strike zone. That's a strikeout. The Twins have been amazing at this. Now Taylor Rogers in. Again, Jeffers is going to challenge. Watch. That's a strike. They won another couple last night. That got Rogers out of a mini jam in the 7th inning. Tigers put 2 on at the top of the 9th. Justin Topa in, but he gets the ground out to Brooks Lee, and the Twins break them up. They've won 2 in a row. 4-2, they beat Detroit last night. Bradley was sensational. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 10 strikeouts, allows 1 run in the process. After that, 5 Twins combine to shut down the Tigers after that, in front of a less than sellout crowd at Target Field last night, but Minnesota is able to get the first 2. Game 3 coming up again tonight. Framber Valdez will be starting for the Tigers. Bailey Ober will be going on the mound for Minnesota before they wrap up this series tomorrow afternoon. Bradley, he was traded in the dump-off that happened last July. The Twins got him. Griffin Jacks went the other way to Tampa. And I think without any hesitation, you could say the best pitcher so far for the Minnesota Twins in 2026 has been Taj Bradley. I got a question on how many were at the game last night. And again, announced attendance is one thing. Actual butts in the seats is another. They said 12,341. There might have been less people at the game last night than there were on Monday night. First pitch temperature was 44 degrees. It was actually warmer. I think Corey Provis actually said that in the broadcast last night. Said, hey, it's actually warmer tonight. And I believe Justin Morneau chirped in, really? Didn't feel that way. But they got a nice pitching performance from Bradley and a victory for Minnesota. Game 3 coming up tonight. Lastly, before we set up the show here, is the triple header of Minnesota professional teams playing last night. So the Wolves win. The Twins win. The Wild were playing last night. Again, there's a week and a half remaining in the NHL regular season. The Wolves have been trending the wrong way. The Wild are going the opposite direction. They are not out of it for a chance to have home ice advantage in the opening round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Coming off that emotional victory they had Sunday against the Red Wings. Last night, the Seattle Kraken were in town. Wild fell behind in this game, but they didn't flinch at all after knowing they got a big one coming up tomorrow night with Dallas. They fell behind in this game, 1-0. Matt Boldy just scores goals. This one is off of his chest and then the hollow of a stick and in for his 42nd goal of the year. We're tied at 1. 2-1 Seattle now in the second. The Wild answer back. Marcus Foligno. Nifty move on the backhand. Scores and ties it up at 2 early in the second. How about another Vladimir Tarasenko goal? Remember, he had 0 goals in the first 6 weeks of the season. That is his 23rd there on the doorstep to make it 3-2 Minnesota. They weren't done in the third. Marcus Johansson, his 200th career NHL goal, is about as easy as you get with a tap in at the side of the net. Wild win it 5-2. Break them up. They've won 4 in a row. Keep climbing up the NHL standings. It is official. The Wild will play the Dallas Stars in the first round. Now, what's all it's up to be decided is who hosts. Mentioned the Wild will play Dallas Thursday night in Dallas. That game on ESPN Plus and Hulu. That's a nationally televised game exclusive to streaming, with the Wild just 2 points behind the Stars. Colorado will be the number 1 seed. They'll play the second wild card team. That's still up in the air between Nashville, the Kings, the Sharks, the outside shot of the Jets. Utah, if we have time, we got to show what the Mammoth did last night. They're quietly becoming one of my favorite teams in all pro sports. They have a great logo, cool nickname. I know a lot of us wanted the Yeti, but they've embraced the Mammoth, and it's pretty darn cool. But the Wild get a big win last night as we close it in on the Stanley Cup playoffs. Best time of year. Even those that don't watch hockey will watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, which begins in earnest coming up in just a couple weeks' time. We have a packed show coming up for you here on this Hump Day Wednesday. Excited about our guest lineup, which is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Our guy Drew Trafton will join us in just a few minutes. We'll skim the world of sports with Drew coming up at 9:20. Excited to always have him in studio. Also in studio, Fargo Davies alum, former Bison fullback, All-American fullback, an All-Conference fullback, Truman Werremeyer will join us because the NFL has come calling. As the NFL draft is now just a couple weeks away, the former Davies fullback is getting some serious heat from the National Football League. We'll visit with Truman about that in studio. Excited about that at 9:35. Our second hour with a couple of commits that you will either meet or be reintroduced to. At 10 o'clock, Brooks Bakko will join us. First time he's talking to anybody is on our show. The Kindred two-way standout announced late yesterday that he is verbally committed to play football at the University of Minnesota. That is the 4th local player to head to PJ Fleck for the class of 2027, joining the 3 Moorhead Spuds. Brooks will join us to start our second hour. And at 10:35, Annika Dunrud will join us from New York Mills, one of the best Minnesota players of the class of 2026. She will play for Carla Nelson and the Dragons next year. Annika will join us. I wore some New York Mills blue here today, 10:35, to chat about her commitment to wrap up the show. So, a lot to get to today. We got a couple other fun guests coming up later this week. Joe Hurlburt, the pride of Enderlin, is going to play his final year of basketball at the Citadel. He'll join us on the show tomorrow. UND got a top-ranked football commit out of Minnetonka. The Skippers had a pretty good football team last year. They made it to the state semis. The Bison already got a player off their roster. Now UND got its quarterback. He's going to join us later in the week as well. So no slowing down. I know what the calendar says, that we got no spring sports happening yet. It's raining today. At least that'll hopefully melt the snow. Things are pretty fiery here of what we got going on our program for the rest of the week. So that's our guest lineup here on a busy Wednesday. We'll take our first break. We come back. Our guy Drew Trafton will join us. Lots to get to with him as we start our Wednesday show. Hot Mike is back right after this.
The biggest Seahawks, Sounders, and Mariners fan in the FM area. It's time for Views with Drew.
Here it is. We start our Wednesday guest lineup with our guy Drew Trafton. What's going on, Matt? How are you?
Just getting through the snow and the rain and whatever else spring throws at us,
We were packed last week. We had about 18 topics we tried to run the gamut
that was
on
fun.
what we were getting through, whether it was the World Cup qualifiers last week to opening day.
The coach's picture.
Yeah, we had that, of course,
with the NFL winter meetings.
So there are a couple of offshoots out of that we didn't have time for. The Beast came out today, by the way, for you NFL draft nerds. Yourself, one of them. Dane Brugler put that out, which is about 600 pages of information of guys.
Yeah, it's like, and this year it feels so much more muddied just because there's like after the first couple picks, like to me it's like, where does Jeremiah Love go? Where does Sonny Styles go? Where and that'll set up the rest of it's just like so much more muddied than a typical year.
What do you make of the big? Well, first off, here's some news for you. Scott Van Pelt revealed on his Omaha ESPN podcast he will continue hosting Midnight Sports Center and will not move to 5 p.m. I don't know if you had heard that. That was something out there that had been rumored that potentially moving him to 5 o'clock. I think he wanted to do that maybe for easier schedule.
Sure.
But he says, this is from Andrew Marchand, who does all great sports media reporting, says he's staying on the
the Big Show.
I love that show. Honestly, that one is the one I always grew up with. It was Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick forever when I was growing up. And now Van Pelt's had it for over a decade.
Yeah, and he does a great job with it.
Oh, it's the best.
And he gets like all of the primetime stuff ending, those lead-in interviews.
And
he's very good at
takes
it.
his show to the biggest game. Like if it's the Super Bowl, if it's the college football playoff, at the NBA Finals he was at last year.
Yeah, and you don't get that same juice like at 5 p.m. for sure.
No, it's
all set up. It's all it's a different.
And I'm not watching. I'm not watching TV at 5 o'clock. We eat supper then.
Yeah.
And normally the Jackman's got something on that normally that will occupy
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, or what do you?
It's been Lego Marvel right now.
Okay, Lego Marvel.
Have you guys gone down that road?
No.
Yeah, he's big on that one. Oh, it's a scene, man. Yeah. I mean, our whole living room is occupied with Legos right now. That's a whole other story. But anyway, I was going to say the NFL has decided that the Seahawks are going to play Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because the Australia game will be Thursday. This is the first week of September. I was writing about this earlier this week because next week the NCAA is going to vote on moving the FBS calendar to week 0.
Yes.
That will now, the last week of August will be the official start of the college football season. And to me, it makes a heck of a lot of sense for something we talked about a couple weeks ago, that the Super Bowl in 2028 doesn't have a date yet. Which is unheard of when you need 2,000 hotel rooms and convention centers. The fact that it doesn't have a date should be alarm bells be going off, because they want to go to 18 games and they could do it next year and start on Labor Day weekend.
And didn't they just decide where that Super Bowl's is that?
No, that was the following. No, that's the following one.
Year. Okay,
which also doesn't have a date either. By the way, if they can't get 18 games in 27, you can sure as heck bet they're going to get it in 2028. Which we thought this was years and years off, and now here it is.
Yeah,
it's coming.
I mean, they take their opportunity when they can get it, and,
which I think they have, because the Players Association now has J.C. Treader leading it, and I think they have sway that the players are going to get paid more if you play another game and get a second bye.
You get another game check. And in the NFL, in these years leading up to this, I mean, look at how much the cap's grown.
Yep.
Too.
Yeah.
I mean, like this year it went up. What was it, $20 million?
Correct.
I mean, if it keeps going that way, and I'm sure it would. You add an extra regular season week in there. You can probably build in another bye week. And I mean,
and this would get everybody's dream of having President's Day
as the
day
Super Bowl.
after the Super Bowl, so you have the day off.
Right.
For most employees, I know not everybody has the day off, but most.
Well, and that
does
matter, especially when you're pitching the game. moving ahead into, where does that game live and who has access to it and what are they paying for those rights?
Couple things here. We mentioned this earlier. I don't know if you saw Ross Dellinger reporting from Yahoo that the NCAA is going to float this out there about the 5 for 5. That they got some steam on this last year, and then the amount of lawsuits that were out said, I don't think this is the time. Well, after the executive order that Trump put out to saying that they wanted to have a streamline of 5 years, I think they have some runway to maybe make this happen.
Totally. And I think the compounding of those lawsuits over the last year, even that put a microscope on that, and people saw just how complex and how, really in one of the, to his points in his article, I think, if I was reading it right, was that, it's an unfair system, and I think everyone agrees to that point when it comes to you're putting these cases in front of different judges, you're getting different decisions, and seemingly with the same case studies, in front of them. So it's like, how do you, in the interest of fairness, how does this work on the field, on the court, and everywhere else? I think it definitely has some interesting implications for players and the grandfathering,
especially current players that are getting ready for their potentially senior year. I look right at Nathan Hayes is a perfect example. The Bison quarterback,
you get 2 years of him potentially.
Right, if this goes through, that would totally change everything about how NDSU's planning for 2027 would certainly change if they have another year with their starting quarterback.
Absolutely, it does. Yeah, there's so many interesting implications if that domino falls, and so that'll be really interesting to see. I think it just on its face, looking at it, it makes total sense. It's like okay, let's do it. But it's there will be so much that you have to account for on either end when it comes to these players. Whether they get grandfathered into it. How does that look? So, we're going to be in the weeds of these court cases probably for a while. Even if these all get eliminated, it would toss out, the need for so many of these cases, but it would open up a batch of new ones, I'm sure.
Well, I already have a response and would not work in college hockey. Because obviously college hockey has a different recruiting process totally than any other sport. That guys after their 19th birthday aren't playing college hockey. They're playing junior hockey like here with the Fargo Force for a couple years, and then their eligibility clock
They're waiting for their coach to call.
I don't know. Again, the wording of it has to probably be sorted out a little bit better on that.
Yeah,
again,
and maybe they do make an exception for... Well, you can't. I don't know. That is so difficult.
Right.
That's so
you
super
have to have the wording exactly right on that.
Your 19th birthday
or after high school graduation,
whichever one's earliest.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
I graduated high school. I was 18 when I graduated.
Yeah. Same. But it was just a couple months. For me.
Yeah.
And so that's Not that I was a college athlete. To be clear, I just want to go on the record. I was not.
You're not a college athlete. Email comes in. Dami S. Drew of the story that's circulating that World Cup ticket buyers are accusing FIFA of, quote, misleading them. There's a story in The Athletic this morning. Altered categories, seat maps that fail to disclose hospitality sections. It's hard not to feel scammed, one fan told The Athletic. This is... This is something that's been percolating for the last couple of months, right?
Absolutely. You talk to any fan, the price of these seats is outrageous.
First off, it's outrageous, yes.
Outrageous.
Yeah. I saw Stu Holden, who's the Fox analyst, tweeted out some sort of deal, and the deal was like $900 a pop. That's not a deal.
Yeah.
A deal is like $50 to go to the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Or $100.
Yeah. And there's just a lot of confusion over who has these seats.
Right. Who's going to go? No one can afford that.
Right. Yeah. And it's wild. So my dad is going to be in Seattle during the World Cup, and we had planned, years ago, hey, let's go to when it was announced they were the host site last year, it's like, let's find tickets and go. And, we just haven't seen anything under $3,500 for the U.S.-Australia game or, just those group games.
Yeah.
And it's like, do we go and just see what we can get?
Oh.
Do we wait until the ticket price drops, or are these all corporate, seats that are already purchased or, have that evaluation to them? No, it's why it's just, I don't know.
Is there going to be shots of empty stadiums here?
FIFA would hate that.
Correct.
The United States would hate that, in a lot of respects. So it's how do you I don't know.
Yeah.
It's they've got a lot to figure out in the next couple of months for sure. And these stadiums are already making these upgrades that they promised. And
some have to automatically have natural grass in there. They have to get their turf out.
Yes, is a huge.
Like Dallas is one of them, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these stadiums are doing this, and they're spending tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on certain upgrades that are required to host these games, thinking that they're going to have,
that's
these massive crowds.
Crazy.
And
last email comes in to ask Drew if he's gotten over what Joe Adell did to the Mariners over the weekend. We showed that as our best of the weekend on Monday.
I saw, and Eric played that in the break. I was like, thanks. I've only seen that 3,500
Honestly, the
times.
photo of him holding the ball up in the stands was like Simba being held up in the Lion King. Like, I have the ball.
And to do it 3 times
Unbelievable.
In a matter of and it was like 3 times in the game, yes, but he did it in like the span of an hour. Like it was unreal.
I had not seen
good.
I had not seen the first 2.
Yeah.
I have the MLB package, so alert came off like, "Hey, Joe Adell just did it again." I'm like, did what again? Like another? Did he hit 3 home runs in a game? No, he made 3 home runs saving catches. This one honestly was really good. The second one, that's a home run.
Yes,
that's a home run he took away there.
And he's doing it against guys that, like, the thing that was really heartbreaking.
Raleigh, one of them.
Yeah.
Naylor.
Yeah. We're guys, like, in the heart of their order that haven't produced yet this season, that are, like, in slumps.
And J.C. Crawford's another one.
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
and he just got back from an injury.
This is an unbelievable catch. I mean...
In the stands, just like...
It's just unbelievable. He went over there and got it.
Yeah. It was so good. So good. And
the drama of it, like the way, and then he holds it up like that. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Yeah. I had JP's reaction when I saw that too. Just like, you got to be joking.
Mariners are 4-8.
They're 4-9, I think now, right? After last night, are they 4-8?
4-8 right now.
No, we're in kind of panic mode.
Already?
Early on. Yeah.
This is what happens with Seattle. We have a great year, then a not so great year, then we're back.
No,
right?
It's just, this is following the script of like just their woes over the last like 10 years, especially where it's like they've got this dynamite pitching staff and they're doing great, and then they just can't hit. And it's the guys that you just signed to these massive extensions that you're committed to for 10 more years, and like they're just not getting going.
Baseball is so cruel like that. Like, we got to go. Like the Cubs had their ace. Cade Horton is done for the year. He pitched like 2/3 of an inning and then blows out his arm, and it's done. Mm-hmm. It's just... football has it as well with ACLs that happen in training camp or in preseason ball, and you're just done.
You're committed for 16, 17 weeks.
It's
like,
different.
It's
just
so different.
Baseball's a 6-month deal.
Yeah,
and you're just donezo.
Yeah, when you're done in April, like
that's
it's like
a hard deal. Thanks for coming by, bud. Great to see you as always. Drew Trafton joins us each and every Wednesday to get our show rolling. We'll break. We come back. Former Davies standout, North Dakota State All-American fullback Truman Werremeyer in studio on the NFL, giving him a call in a couple weeks. That's coming up. We come back. Welcome back, everybody. Wednesday morning show off and rolling. About a half hour away, Brooks Bakko will join us from Kindred, North Dakota, about his commitment to the University of Minnesota. Excited to have him join us. Pretty pumped to have our next guest in studio, who I've had the pleasure of covering for, 8 years now. Long time, and get a chance to maybe cover him some more. Truman Werremeyer joins us here. Fargo Zone, Davies alum, I could say North Dakota State. Soon to be alum here, right? About a month, right? Or a little less than that.
Hopefully, yep.
Great to see you, bud. Because the NFL draft coming up, there's some chatter on you. First off, I don't know if this would apply for you. I don't know if you heard the story that the NCAA is trying to throw out a new rule here. You get 5 years to play 5 years. Really? I don't know if you can go
sign me up, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
Get another year
to play. Put my helmet back on right now.
How different would that be? There's no red shirt anymore. That would be the deal. You get 5 years to play 5 years.
Yeah, I don't know. It might not change that much. A lot of guys probably aren't cut out to play their true freshman year, so it'd end up being a red shirt anyway. But yeah, that could, for those guys that are good enough to play their true freshman year, that could certainly be interesting.
How about for you? You thinking back of that, like your true freshman year? Yeah. Like, was there any chance you thought of getting on the field?
I know we had some injuries at fullback, like Bros had broken his ankle and stuff, but no, I wasn't. I wasn't too much in the mix. I wish I could say I was, but no.
Yeah, it's really interesting, especially for the guys who are going to be seniors this year. If this goes through, suddenly they got that have redshirted and got another year to play.
Mm-hmm. Especially like Donovan, and Jackson Williams both didn't redshirt. That would give them both another year.
Nathan, I look at Hayes. We got a chance for him to be another year quarterback as well. Again, another thing that happened after you got done. When you heard the Mountain West stuff, what was your initial reaction?
Yeah, I think Coach Polasek had hinted at it when I was talking to him kind of after the season at our senior dinner, and that's all. I mean, it's awesome. Super excited for the guys. Obviously, maybe a little jealous, but the Missouri Valley was a great conference. It was fun to play in, and I'm excited that the guys are going to get a good opportunity to go up to the FBS, and that's something that it's kind of a label that a lot of guys chase, and now we have it. Yeah. So it's not going to be like people transfer just to go up to the FBS now. It's cool. Yeah.
Did you heard that from maybe some of your former teammates? Because competition level was always brought up for guys that decided to move on. That was the reason, hey, we want to play the best competition. That's now going to be certainly different going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would contend that the Missouri Valley is just as good as lots of the Group of 5 conferences. But, yeah, definitely that FBS label is something that I'm sure recruits look at. I'm sure even players look at. So that's cool. And obviously getting a chance to make the playoff if you win your conference, that's certainly doable. You saw James Madison do it. So that's definitely something that this program is going to shoot for.
You mentioned the senior dinner. Let's rip the Band-Aid off now and just talk about have you went back and watched the Illinois State game, or you have not done that yet?
I have not. I don't know if I ever will. That one's going to hurt for a while, but looking back, there's not anything I don't think any of the seniors would look back on and say, I wish we would have did it different. I mean, we all played our hardest. We all practiced our hardest. It's just, it happens. You have a terrible game.
Picked a bad time to have a bad game, right?
And, it hurts, but, you got to look yourself in the mirror at the end of it and say, we did everything we could, so can't beat yourself up too much about it.
On the sideline, seeing how odd is it that the defense is playing as well as they are, and how the game is played out? Is that the most bizarre game you've ever been part of?
For sure. What, they throw 4 or 5 picks?
5.
Yeah, 5. I don't know if I've ever seen a team throw 5 picks and win a game, but we made it happen for them, I guess. So, yeah, it's not something I love to think about now, but it is what it is, I guess. Yeah.
So give us life update here. So the season ends, and obviously, some are looking ahead. Cole Payton was going to get a shot. Bryce was going to get a shot. What about for you that you find out you get a Hula Bowl invite? Take us from there, and then what the last couple months have been like for you?
Yeah, I was kind of sitting at home, kind of trying to decide what I wanted to do. I mean, obviously I want to play in the NFL, but I don't know if that's a realistic shot. Coach Polasek ended up texting me about the Hula Bowl, and I'm like, well, sweet, go get a chance to get coached by John Gruden.
Yeah.
And there was 3 former NFL head coaches just on my team staff at the Hula Bowl, so that was a pretty cool experience. Then I had some agents reach out to me, and I was like, screw it, might as well give it a shot. So, yeah, so then went down to the Hula Bowl, came back and started training for Pro Day, straight through Pro Day. So, I thought Pro Day went decently well. I could have done better, could have done worse. Same thing, kind of look at myself in the mirror and say, did everything I could. So, now the hay's in the barn, and it's just kind of a waiting game to see what the NFL teams thought about it. But,
out of the Hula Bowl, which was in Florida, correct?
Yes, Daytona Beach.
That's not a bad way to spend
a
few days, right?
At Daytona Beach, so that was
your position. Is it more common than we know of in the NFL at fullback?
Yeah, I would say I've done some research on this. Yeah. 12 of the 14 playoff teams had a fullback.
No kidding.
Last year, so yeah,
it's
kind of making a comeback with all the too high shell. There's going to get a fullback in there and run the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah. That and John Gruden loves to use a fullback, so that's kind of why I got that invite to the Hula Bowl, and that was an awesome experience.
His relationship, or at least knowing about North Dakota State, how much did that help for you to get either an invite or get some more attention down there?
It was him and Pat Hill who got me the invite. Pat Hill, former head coach at Fresno. And he's good friends with Entz, so I know he had talked to Entz about it, and then Gruden knowing NDSU, so yeah, that definitely didn't hurt me.
So when agents, did they approach you? You go to them? How did that all go out?
Yeah, mostly they approached me. A couple agents reached out to me and said they've had teams reach out to them about me, which I don't know exactly how that works if they're not covering me yet, but whatever. So
how was that when you found out that?
I mean, I was a little surprised, but definitely happily surprised. Yeah. And my agent reached out to me and said, I think 3 teams had reached out to him asking about me and seeing if they knew anything. So I was like, if teams are reaching out about me, I can't be too bad, And so I decided to end up signing with an agent, and give this thing a shot.
Okay, so when we talked at Pro Day, you had obviously been working out, and have you, since Pro Day, have you met with any other teams, or what's the conversation been like?
No, my agent's been reaching out to teams and talking to them about what they thought about Pro Day, but basically now I think NFL teams are in the process of like finalizing their grades for everyone and getting all that stuff done. So it's kind of just a waiting game until the draft at this point.
Well, we can send this video out here. Your hands, man. We got the different different receptions that you had over the last few years. Which look at you out in space here, huh?
Yeah,
showing off the wheels. Describe that of playing in this particular offense that now may give you a chance at the next level.
Yeah, I think what Roll and then Landry and obviously Larson have continued on is like so much versatility in the tight end and fullback position group. So you might be a fullback, but you're going to play off the ball tight end. I played some on the ball tight end. You're going to get to motion. You're going to get to run routes. You're going to get to block in different areas. So I think I definitely became such a well-rounded player in this offense that I have versatility that I hope NFL teams will notice, that I can play in a couple different areas. And obviously I'm going to do whatever any team asks me to do. But definitely that's something that's given me a lot of experience playing in different spots.
The ability to block, Truman, how valuable is that, or what you found out at the next level? Say you can do that you're already light years ahead of other guys at your spot.
Yeah, definitely blocking is important on offense, but even more so I think on special teams. Like for me to make an NFL roster, I'm going to have to be a good special teamer, and to be able to block on punt and KOR and that kind of stuff is going to be super important.
Nothing new there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Is that how you got on the field at NDSU, was on specials?
Yeah, I did some KOR, I did some punt. And that was kind of how I did PAT. That's kind of how I got my first little bit of playing time.
So now you've gone through this. The draft is a couple weeks away. Nervous, excited, or say, hey, we'll just see what happens? What's the mentality out right now?
Yeah, I was kind of talking to my agent the other day about this, and like we just said the hay's in the barn. Like there's really nothing I can do now. Yeah. So even if I am a little nervous, I just got to tell myself like there's really no point. There's nothing I can do about it now. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm willing to see this thing through as far as it goes, and I'm just happy for the opportunity. Going
into your senior year, was pro football on your mind, or is this something that kind of materialized as the year went along?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely as the year went on. I'm kind of a guy who focuses on one thing at a time, so I was focused on the season. But even then, I didn't really think there was much of a chance. And then kind of the season went on. I had a good season, named all conference, and I'm like, hey, might as well. It kind of came up in the back of my mind. I'm like, hey, might as well give this thing a shot.
It's fantastic and we were talking at Pro Day about this, just like, you know what? Hey, this is like almost like found money. Like
exactly,
you see what happens and take it as far as you can go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, worst thing that happens is I'm out a couple months of my life. So, yeah, I mean, and the best thing that happens is I'm on an NFL roster or even a practice squad, which would be a dream come true of mine, from just a kid from Fargo. I mean, I walked on here at NDSU. Like, this is definitely not something I had in mind going into my college career, but now that it's here, I'm really excited and happy about it, and I'm just going to give it my best shot.
I'm looking at here your different accolades on your page here, from obviously what you did on the field, also what you did in the classroom. Describe that of how proud you are of the work you did in the classroom.
Yeah, I came into college as a sophomore on credits, and like something that my parents have always pushed is academics, and like I don't get. Some guys come to college and they only focus on football and they fail half their classes. Like, why would you throw that free opportunity away? Even if you make it to the NFL, the average NFL career is, I think, 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. So your college degree is going to be so much more important than any contract you could sign. So that's something that I've always pushed to the forefront.
That is well said, my man. Let's break. We come back. I want to chat about recruiting and some good old EDC football and wrestling days with Truman Werremeyer joining us here in studio, former Davies and Bison standout. We'll wrap up hour one of Hot Mike right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Truman Werremeyer joining us in studio, Fargo's own Davies alum, soon-to-be Bison alum. I have an email here to ask. This might be a layup question to ask your favorite game as a Bison. Would that be the national championship game, or is there another one that comes to mind?
I would put that one up there, but I think my favorite one was the Incarnate Word game.
Really?
My second year. That was just an insane game. We're down 16-0 like that. And it was the dome. It wasn't filled because it was a blizzard, but the people were there. Loud. They were loud.
Yes.
That one was really fun. I was in for like 2 or 3 plays, and 2 of them were Kobe Johnson, like long touchdowns. So
you're the guy springing Kobe on the run?
Yeah. And then I remember I got drug tested that game, so I
is
didn't
that
get
right?
home until like 1 or something. So that one will always just be a fun memory.
So how
for
does
me.
that work? Like afterwards, does somebody from the coaching staff tell you, hey, you got to go here?
It's NCAA drug testing,
Yep.
so they just read off a list of names of guys who have to do it, and then you go over there and pee in a cup, and you have to wait till and you can't be too hydrated, or they'll make you do it again. Yeah, so it takes forever.
So that'd be fun. The elation of that. Hey, we won. We're going to Frisco, and then got to sit around for a while.
Exactly.
That's good. That Carter Work game will get lost in the shuffle. It shouldn't, because that's
one I'll
just
always remember,
unbelievable.
Especially they had a good team.
Oh yeah, quarterback
Lindsey
was
Scott,
really good.
He was a beast.
Yes,
yeah.
they had a nose tackle that was like 350 pounds, right?
Listed at 350. I think he was closer to
More
4.
than that.
Yeah.
For people that don't know, take us back for your recruitment process. How did NDSU come into the mix, and was playing Division I football, because you were a state champion wrestler? Was football on the radar, or was wrestling the road you wanted to go down?
No, football was always what I wanted to do in college. My recruitment was all messy because of COVID. I remember I went to my junior day at NDSU. It was whatever that day was, right before everything shut down.
Okay.
So it was that Friday, and I remember they canceled the rest of the state basketball tournament as I was driving home and all that. So after that, it was like coaches weren't allowed to have visits or contacts. So NDSU offered me a walk-on offer at that junior day, and then I was talking to several NSIC schools, but it basically just came down to, do I want a little money to go to NSIC and maybe play earlier, or do I want to walk on at NDSU and do that? And I ended up choosing NDSU because I loved the relationship I had with Coach Roll, and just obviously growing up in Fargo and watching NDSU be successful for all those years.
When that came about, was that just beyond, like, this is happening? Like, Division I football is now a reality, but I'm starting as a walk-on. Like, that is the toughest road to hoe, right?
Yeah, it was definitely like excitement and nervousness, because when I say walk on, I mean walk. Like, I wasn't supposed to be in fall camp my freshman year until 2 days before someone was like academically ineligible.
No kidding.
So Coach Roll called me and said, "You're in." So I packed up my stuff and moved into the dorms the next day, and I was practicing 2 days later.
That is wild. I think people know that about how the walk-on rules particularly work. At least they used to. On
like
that.
105 guys in fall camp or something.
The redshirt year, I've asked you, I've asked others who've gone through, just what is that year like on the scout team? How difficult is that?
It's awful. It's not awful, but it's tough. I mean, you're going out there and getting beat up every day by All-American. Like, that defense my freshman year let up 9 points a game. And we're going against them every day on the scout team. You're trying to adjust to being in college and having these classes and lifts every day, and Kramer's breathing down your neck.
So Jackson Hankey's hitting you all the time, right?
Jackson Hankey, Braden Thomas, Tony Pierce were the guys that I remember.
And Kramer's yelling in
Sam
there,
Kramer.
right?
So it's not easy, but looking back, you're so glad you went through it, because it kind of molds you into who you become as the years go on, and it shows you, like, it's the hardest year of your college football career. After that, everything's a little easier.
When was the moment that maybe clicked for you? Say, okay, I made it. I'm here. I'm official member of the team. Is there one that sticks out to you?
So my second year fall camp, I started down on the twos field, and I was not happy about that. I thought I should have been moved up, and I had a good couple days, and Coach Roll moved me up to the twos field on day 3 or 4, and like, you expect it to be like, oh, these guys are the starters, like, it's not going to go well. But I had a solid day, and from that point on, I was just like, I belong here. I always questioned, like, am I athletic enough? Am I whatever? But from that point, I was like, I can play here, and like, it just gave me confidence to know that I can do it.
I know I've talked to you about this, about specifically the North Dakota guys, specifically the Fargo guys. You know, yourself, how goes on there from North. You've got Cheyenne guys are represented. What does that mean for you guys to be playing here in town and then go play for the Bison? Yeah,
I think it's, like I said, it's kind of a dream come true for any Fargo kid. You go to Bison games, you go tailgating, you watch the Bison as you're growing up. Like, a program with this much success right in your backyard, how could you not want to go there?
Who was the biggest rival you had in Davies? I always contend, and we were talking off air, I thought you guys in West Fargo always were pretty darn good.
I mean, South was still up when when I was in high school, so obviously the short crosstown rivalry, that's always be something. And then Cheyenne, it wasn't much of a rivalry because I don't think we ever beat them when I was in high school, but we wanted to, and didn't go as well for us. But yeah, I would say South and Cheyenne are the two biggest, and Shanley, of course. We there's not a lot of good blood between
No,
Shannon and Davies.
that certainly has materialized here over the last handful of years. Describe what this fall was like. You were playing your senior year, and your dad is having the kind of run that the Davies had this past fall.
Yeah, even these last 2 years, it's been so fun to watch Davies with my brothers playing and my dad coaching. So every time we're at home, a home game, I would make it out there on Friday if I could and go watch them. And I was just really proud of my brother and my dad. You know, we finally brought that state championship home that they've been looking for since 2014. And just for me, trying to take my senior year all in and not like rush through it, try to just kind of take every game.
Almost every. Did he make every game? I know he talked. We'd say, "Hey, I'm coaching here," and then I got a flight at 5 a.m. to get to Terre Haute or whatever.
No, that was the one game.
Is that when he missed?
Indiana State when I scored my touchdown. That was the one he wasn't at. And I remember him and my girlfriend were talking, and he was like, "Come on, we can drive down 8-9 hours after my game," and she's like, No. And he's all razzing her afterwards, like saying she's the reason they missed it. But he flew to Illinois State on.
That's the one.
Late Friday night. Him and my grandpa flew down into Chicago and drove over to that game. So
that's pretty cool.
It's awesome. He tried to make it to everyone. Yeah.
So to have that and just football ingrained, what is that? I always ask, where does the line stop where dad starts and coach begins, or the other way around? How was it for you guys?
Well, I always tell the story that football ingrained. My dad went to football practice the day I was born. I was born, I think in the afternoon, and then he left and went to football practice to coach. But, yeah, my dad always, I think he did a great job of saying, at football, I'm going to be your coach, and then once he gets home, I'm just going to be dad. So it didn't really cross the lines too much for us besides maybe him watching film in his office and saying, what was this or something. But, yeah, he did a great job of just keeping it separate. And, you know, he already rips me enough on the field. So at home, he can lay off,
What's the under-over on how many times the Davies will throw the ball this upcoming year? What do you say?
I don't know.
Like 5?
Maybe.
10?
My dad's doing a presentation on the screen game at the coaches clinic this weekend. So, yeah.
Be still my heart on that.
I'll say maybe 1 a game. We'll set the under over at 10.5.
I'm going to hammer the under on that. I'm going to tell you.
I wonder what it was last year. I know they.
Oh gosh, we can look it up here.
Yeah.
I know the Dakota Bowl took like an hour and a half. That's how they ran the ball.
Perfect for you. Yeah,
exactly. Right.
9 p.m.
Great to see you, man. Congratulations and good luck in a couple weeks. Thanks for coming by. All right. Truman Werremeyer joining us here in studio, former Davies and NDSU fullback with some NFL potential and hopes coming here in a couple weeks. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Kindred's Brooks Bakko will join us. North Dakota's top high school football recruit heading to the Gophers. He'll join us when we start hour 2 after this.
This is Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Hour 2, ready to rock and roll here on a busy Wednesday morning. You're looking at the highlight reel of one Kindred's Brooks Bakko, who announced yesterday that he is verbally committed to play football at the University of Minnesota. A guy that we've been following for the better part of about 3 years. Announced yesterday his destination for college football. And he gives us the first interview he's doing was with us. That's pretty good stuff. Last time we had you on, you just won the state basketball championship. Where's this moment rank as opposed to that one?
I'd say this is at the top. This is probably the best couple days of my life.
Congratulations. Just give us the backstory on this and why Minnesota was the team that won out for you.
Yeah, so I got offered back in April of last year. So I've had, a whole year to build connections with coaches and get to campus multiple times. I think I've been there 4 or 5 times. So it just kind of felt like the right choice. There's no place I'd rather be. It feels like home. It's close to home. Everything just fits and checks all the boxes. So I was like, I want to be a Gopher.
Was this ahead of your timeline, or I know you've been in the meat grinder for about 2 years on the recruiting cycle here. Was this just time to be done, or was this even ahead of when you thought?
I'd always thought I would make a decision around April, May. Maybe it's a little bit earlier than I would have thought, but I don't have any regrets about it.
Give us the lowdown on, you mentioned, what stood out about Minnesota, I know Coach Fleck has been up here, what your relationship is with the staff, and just why was this the best fit for you?
I'd say coaches for sure. Like Coach Kaler, I've had lots of talks with him. He's been to school a lot of times, came to a basketball game this winter. Same with Fleck. Fleck was in school this year, and just kind of showed that, they wanted me to be there, and I felt wanted. And yeah, it was just great connections overall with them.
Describe here, you got the Kindred to Minnesota pipeline continues with obviously Riley's down there, yourself going to go. How big a deal is that for you?
Yeah, it's really cool. I talked to Riley a little bit already. So he was excited for me. It's pretty cool. We made hopefully make some Kindred fans turn into some Gopher fans too.
What was this been like for your family? I know you've been talking with coaches. You've had, your phone blowing up over the last couple of years. To have this over and done with, what's the reaction today, Brooks, that it's done with?
Just kind of relieved, relieved that I'm going to a place that I love, that I want to be at. My parents are super proud of me, and they're relieved as well. And my mom might be a little selfish. She wants me to stay a little closer to home. But yeah, it's just the perfect fit for me.
When did you get a sense? And I know we talked about this when you joined us like a year and a half ago after the state basketball championship. When did Division I sports, football, become reality? Like, hey, somebody thinks I'm good enough to play at the next level. You remember? Was it an offer, a practice? When do you remember that?
I'd say I'd always wanted to play Division I sports, no matter what sport it was. But then for football, I feel like kind of after my freshman year. That's when I was like, this is a real possibility. So then I started working towards it.
Now that it's reality, does it seem surreal this has happened, that this is going to be where you're going to go in a year and a half's time?
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't feel real, but I'm really excited about it.
Tell me about this past year. I know battled injury bug as well. How was this year frustrating? Describe it for you, both football and basketball wise.
Yeah, starting with football, we had a great team. Not making excuses, but we just had a lot of injuries, and they just kind of caught up to us. We lost in the semifinal game, and yeah, it was a tough game for us. But I'm sure we'll bounce back next year. And then same with basketball. I was really bummed the way it ended for me when I hurt my ankle. I wanted to play, I wanted to be out there with the guys, but I had to, do what was best.
How tough is that to sit and not be out there, and in football not have your best guys out there have a chance to go and play?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's just watching you work the whole year for something, and then when it comes to the playoff time and you can't be out there, it's really hard.
So for people that don't know, where is Minnesota looking at you to play? And tell us about the transition to you play defense, you play offense. Where are you going to be playing in college at?
Yeah, so I'll be a tight end, more of probably like a receiving tight end a little bit. Still involved in the run game, but yeah, I'll have to gain some weight, be around that 235, 240 mark, and yeah. Describe
that of making that. You've played wide out, you've played defensive back as well. Like, okay, this is going to be my role going forward of where your best destiny, I guess, going into college.
Yeah, I know it's definitely gonna be different. I'm used to playing pretty much every snap of the game in high school right now on offense and defense. So just focusing on one position I think it'll be better for me. Just to really specialize on that one thing, but it'll be different, I'm sure.
All right, I got to know did you talk to Coach Fleck? Who did you call to say I'm in?
I called Coach Kaler first, the tight end coach. Told him, and then I called Fleck after that, and yeah, he was excited about it.
What was his reaction? Can you tell us on the other end of the phone when you told him?
Well, he kind of knew what I was going to say already because he heard it from wherever. But yeah, he was excited. He got up, fist pumps and all that. So yeah, it was cool.
Now the other side, who was the first person you told here? Was it your mom, dad? Who was the first person that you said, okay, I'm going to be a Gopher?
I was talking about parents, both my mom and dad. They were the first person I told, and they were proud of me. And then when I called them, they were really just excited for me.
Did you celebrate last night, or is that coming still?
We celebrated a little bit. Just kind of sat with the fam, looking at all the updates and stuff. But yeah.
Did you hear from anybody or out of the blue, like over the last 12 hours since you posted this, that you either didn't expect to hear from or haven't talked to in a long time?
Maybe a little bit. There's a lot of like news stations and stuff that reached out and stuff that haven't really talked to much, but yeah, not a whole lot of like old friends or something.
How about that out of the Twin Cities? I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. What was that like to get requests there? How did you handle that?
Yeah, I was just kind of, I texted them, said I could do some interviews and stuff, and just kind of see what works.
All right, so now it's over and done with. Tell us what's ahead here. I mean, for people that have obviously follow Kindred, know that you've been sidelined. What's health status at? When do we see you back in competition?
Yeah, I'll be back 100%, probably mid-June, early June, I'm hoping. So I'll get that whole summer to, recover, get to 100%, and then by next football season, I'll be 110%, hopefully.
You going to still try and play basketball next year, or no, it's just football only?
I think basketball next winter for sure.
That upcoming football season, and for yourself, Luke, just describe, you guys are, I'm sure you're ready to go now. What do you think is going to be like getting back out when fall camp rolls around for the Vikings in next August?
Yeah, we're really excited. It's going to be intense. It's going to be, we got something to prove this year. When the last 2 years been kind of a letdown, so it's our senior year. We want to go out with a bang, and we just want to end with the state championship.
How'd you feel the transition to 2A football went for you guys?
I felt like it went really good. We had a good record. We lost one game, and I felt like we could have been in the championship game if we just played our cards a little bit better.
So to have this over and done with, can you take me back, like the first phone call you got or direct message and all this played out to now here at the end? What goes through your mind when I ask you that about this whole process?
Just kind of a sense of relief, I guess, that I'm done with it and at a home that I truly love. So I'd say that's the biggest part. It's just a nice relief.
What's school been like here for the first couple hours today?
It's been great. A lot of my friends been giving me congrats and stuff. So it just shows that how tight knit the Kindred community is and stuff. So it's been cool.
How many games did you make it down to football wise for Minnesota?
My freshman year I went to the Penn State game, and then last year I went to Nebraska.
How was that? Just to take in that atmosphere. Did you envision yourself when you're down there? Are you looking around saying, "Yeah, I can see myself here"?
Yeah, it was great atmospheres both games. They were both the Penn State game they lost my freshman year, but only by one possession. Yeah. And then Nebraska last year when they won, everybody was storming the field and fireworks were going off. It was awesome.
So now, Brooks, with yourself, the three guys from Moorhead are all going to be Gophers as well as part of this class. What is this like to have so many local guys, and we mentioned Riley already, he's down there, that are heading to the U? How big a deal is that?
Yeah, it's awesome. I think it just shows how much of a priority it is for the Minnesota coaches to recruit locally and develop players. So it's cool that I'm going there with a bunch of kids that, I've known, I've competed against when I was younger and stuff. So yeah, it's cool.
The last time how many times did you get asked about the state championship winning shot in basketball during this whole process as well, after that happened last March?
I'd say it happened more like last spring, I guess. Not a whole lot as of recently, but yeah.
But it's great to see you. Thanks so much for doing this. Congratulations. I know you got to get back to class. Thanks for the time. Get well, and we'll talk soon before football gets going, okay?
Sounds good. I appreciate you having me on.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes. Brooks Bakko from Kindred, North Dakota, part of the Gopher football 2027 class. He joins Jet Feeney, David Mack, Tay Rich out of Moorhead, Drake Mickelson we're going to have on from Lenox, South Dakota, another tight end that is going to the University of Minnesota. And this is a guy we've been talking about for the better part of 2.5 years, honestly, when things really started to materialize on the recruiting front. And everybody wanted him. NDSU wanted him bad. UND wanted him bad. And then once, though, and we talked about this, once the bigger schools, the Power Four, started coming in, it was this exact same thing with Riley Sunram. I believe NDSU was first on Sunram. Somebody can fact check that. And then the Gophers came in like the next day with Riley. And then everything blew up. I mean, he had everybody at University of Miami was offering Sunram a few years ago. This is the official offer list for Bakko. North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Florida, Wisconsin, Vanderbilt, Utah, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Michigan, Kansas State, Kansas, Iowa State, Duke, Arizona, and the Gophers. I mean, you don't begrudge the kid one iota once the Power Four start coming in. And I'm sure for Bison and Fighting Hawk fans are like, oh, he's not staying home. Once an ACC, a Big Ten, SEC, Pac-12, Big 12 offer comes in, no, it's just you're not living in reality. You love your team, which is fine, but you're also not in reality for what the amount of money that likely is being offered to these players now as well to commit. And obviously, it's a Big Ten school. Let's just end the conversation right there, right? We talked about it in yesterday's show, the Big Ten rolling here in football and men's basketball and women's basketball with its titles. I mean, that's the place to be. And all credit to PJ Fleck and his staff. For years, this area, up until I'd say about 2021, was whatever, frankly, North Dakota State and sometimes North Dakota wanted, specifically North Dakota State. If the Bison wanted a guy in this part of the world, they got him. And that is not the case anymore. Fleck and his staff have worked overtime up here. You go to Carter Men's, West Fargo, Cheyenne. Obviously, Sunram and Kindred. Think of the guys in Moorhead now. That has just not been a slam dunk anymore. It's gotten infinitely harder for the likes of North Dakota State, North Dakota, South Dakota State to hone in a guy and get them to commit to them. It's a real challenge now. And if the Gophers are coming in, typically that means they're going to get them more often than not. And again, that goes back to the appeal of being a Big Ten school. Makes total sense. So, hat tip to Bakko. Official stats here, by the way, just in case we didn't get a chance to get into them here. 6'5", 205 pounds. You saw the highlight reel. Plays primarily wide receiver and defensive back. From the Forums article from Ryan Spitzer, finished his junior season with the Vikings with 41 receptions for 757 yards and 12 touchdowns to go along with 7 picks. Of course, Kindred lost the stunner to Devil's Lake in overtime in the AA state semis. That was their only loss of the season. They were 10-0. I think all of us had them circled for a date in the Dakota Bowl. They eventually lost to the state champs as Devil's Lake won the 2A championship. Bakko averaged 68.8 receiving yards per game as a junior and 18.4 yards per catch. You see his ability, his catch radius to go up and get the ball. That first highlight we have, his ability to go up and get it makes him, that's part of the appeal of why so many schools were over him, that he's got that ability to go up there and get it. Sunram was a senior on the 2023 Kindred State Championship team. Bakko was a freshman that year. He earned All-State second-team honors that season, the only ninth grader to make the Division A All-State roster. Since then, he's been a 3-time All-State selection himself. First-team defense honors as a sophomore, and then first-team offense as a junior this past season. It's hard to miss number 2 out there. I mean, he just is able to make plays and be a game breaker. According to 24/7 Sports, Bakko ranked number 5 of the tight end position nationally and number 7 on its composite scale. Of course, he missed the end of the season with an ankle injury. He told me he's in a boot right now after having surgery, but should be good to go in about a month and a half to be ready to go. And he'll be remembered forever, I don't think for anything he did in football. He will be remembered for hitting the state championship game-winning shot at the buzzer to give Kindred the Class A championship over Devil's Lake last March When people talk about this 15 years from now, unless he does something remarkable in football this upcoming fall, and the only thing that would be the equivalent would be scoring the game-winning touchdown with no time left at the Dakota Bowl, the biggest memory that people are going to have of that name is going to be at the Bismarck Event Center of him tipping in the game-winning shot to beat Devil's Lake in the most wild comeback you could imagine, because Kindred was dead and buried in that game, and they came all the way back and won it. So congrats to Brooks. Pretty cool. We got the first interview with him here locally, and we'll see now. We talked about this 27 class of who was going to stay home, who potentially could move on. That's now Minnesota's 4 for 4 here locally. They got all three of the spuds, and now they got Bakko. His teammate, Luke Starcevic, is out there. Starcevic's got as many offers as Bakko does, and from as many headliners. You've got Ben Henick out in Stanley, North Dakota, and you got Drew Kessel at Fargo South. Those are the three biggies for the 27 class local guys that we're focusing on right now in football. Those are the next three that are up, and we'll see what happens there. Appreciate Brooks giving us a few minutes. Let's break. When we come back, another big recruiting news last night came out of Grand Forks by virtue of the Twin Cities. UND got this guy. We'll chat about Kate Gutzver when Hot Mike returns right after this. There's that bright orange orb in the sky. Nice to have the sun back out here after the gloom of the weekend. Hopefully melt that away so we can get some spring sports going outside. Appreciate Brooks Bakko's time. Annika Dunrud from New York Mills coming up here in about 10 minutes to chat about her basketball career continuing here in town. She'll be playing for the Dragons next year. Let's get a couple emails in. Going back to the Bain headline we started the show with on Ross Dellinger's report from Yahoo that the NCAA is exploring and likely going to implement a 5 for 5 rule. You get 5 years to play 5 years. Shout out to former WDAY Sports employee Eric Morrow. Says that it probably explains why some guys from Omaha, Tony Osborne and Lance Waddles, have put themselves in the transfer portal, even though they're out of eligibility. They could play again if this rule passes. Bingo. Waddles just announced he's in the portal. Waddles is out. He played 2 years at NDSU and then spent the last 2 years in Omaha. His eligibility, and I saw him when we were in Sioux Falls. He got a bunch of hugs from his former Bison teammates. I shook his hand, said congrats on a great run. Looks like it's not over. If this goes through, that's what we're talking about. Rosters right now, that Jackson Money did the same thing this time last year, if you remember right. Money was preparing for professional basketball, but also put his name in the portal just because we were talking about it this time last year, that there was the potential that this could go through and the 5 for 5 could be a deal last year. And it turned out it didn't materialize, and now this is the most smoke we've had on it that this could really go through. So for basketball coaches now, and I'll stay in the Summit League, who are trying to reconstruct their rosters. North Dakota's got 8 open spots. The Bison have 9. That suddenly guy that maybe was thought to be out of eligibility may have another year. Just a crazy deal. Trying to keep up with this literally is a full-time job. You know, what happens on a day-to-day basis in both college football and college basketball, literally we could just shake your head what's up. Speaking of college football, we were talking with Bakko on our last segment. Guy we're going to have on the show later this week. You've already met a couple members from the Minnetonka football team, Cody Braun being one of them, who's verbally committed to play football at North Dakota State. Guy who was throwing in the ball this past season is also going to be heading to this part of the world, to the 701, this time to Grand Forks. Caden Gutzver announced yesterday his commitment to play football at UND. Minnetonka's starting quarterback for a team that made the state semis this past year. Gutzver, who is ranked as the number 6 prospect in Minnesota for the class of 2027. Offers from The U, as in Miami of Florida, Bowling Green, Memphis, Sacramento State, and South Dakota, becomes the second commit for the UND class of 2027. 6'2", 205 pounds, reportedly ran a 4.59 40, has a 37-inch vertical and a 9'10" broad jump. Split time at sophomore as a quarterback at Minnetonka, was the main starter this past season. Played in 7 games after suffering a knee injury in Week 4. He returned for the postseason that ended in the state semifinals to Edina, of course, who went on to beat Moorhead to win the state football championship. That game with Edina, we featured it on Hot Mic the day after it happened at U.S. Bank Stadium. I think it was 42-41, where Minnetonka got way out in front, and then Edina came all the way back and won the game. Gutzmer was really, really good early on in that game, only to see Edina flip it. So that's a big get for Eric Schmidt and Danny Freund, the new brain trust up at UND. Gutzmer is the second verbal, joining Minot North edge Ethan Howie, who was Minot North's first Division I player out of that school. Gutzmer was scheduled, according to Tom Miller, to visit Miami in mid-April, but of course no longer plans to take the visit there. So that UND's got its QB for the class of 2027, something North Dakota State is still working on. The Bison have offered a pair of signal callers, one out of Batavia, Illinois, the same high school that produced Luke Wirtz, and they've offered a player out of Oklahoma. Bison, as far as I can remember, have not got a player out of the state of Oklahoma in the Division I era. I might be missing somebody, but I can't remember Oklahoma. I know Texas, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, California. I don't remember Oklahoma being on there, so we'll see. But we're hoping to have Caden come on later this week, chat about his commitment to go play at UND. All right, we're overdue for a break. We'll get one in here. When we come back, we'll shift gears and chat some hoops. You'll meet one of the rising stars out of western Minnesota, out of New York Mills. Annika Dunrud will join Hot Mic when we come back right after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Wednesday show. Tomorrow, we'll check in Las Vegas. The Frozen Four set to go with UND. We'll preview that tomorrow. You're seeing that Dragons logo because we're going to chat some Dragon hoops. One of the top area players from our neck of the woods made her decision to go play for Carl Nelson and the Dragons. Annika Dunrud from New York Mills. I'm wearing some Eagle Blue for her today on the show. Joins us after she announced that she's going to play for the Dragons. Congratulations. We were just visiting off air. Tell us about your recruitment process. This is for next season. Was this getting late in the deal? Were you nervous? Tell us about it.
Yeah, for sure. It's super stressful. I mean, I really wanted to commit early. And then, I visited a lot of places, like in-state, out-of-state. Like I flew places. Nowhere just really felt like it was somewhere I could see myself being for 4 or 5 years. And then, I visited MSUM a while back, went to one of their games against Minot, and then visited again like last Wednesday. And afterwards, I talked to my parents and I'm like, yeah, this is where I want to be. Like I knew instantly. That's just, it was just instant. I don't know. Yeah.
To have it done, we were just visiting off air. First off, what was it like talking to Coach Nelson saying, okay, this is where I want to go?
Yeah, it was great. I had a conversation with her and I knew that I liked them before I came in because I'd had like talks with them on the phone and everything. And I've seen how they coach and stuff. But I talked with her and it just immediately clicked. Like, I love a coach who's like assertive, competitive, wants to win, will push me. And that's for sure the MSUM coaching staff. And it's felt like a relief and like so much stress has been just lifted off me because I know this is where I want to be now. So yeah.
Well, Coach Nelson is all that and then some. Obviously, you know about the Dragons. What stood out, and certainly the amount of local players, Annika, that have gone and played there. How much was that a big deal or not really in your commitment?
It's important that I can connect with my teammates because, it's a big part of playing is being able to understand each other and, it is a big thing. I talked to some of them when I was on my visit, and I mean, they're all super supportive. We all I think they all understand each other. Like, I was talking to each one of them. They're like, yeah, there's no beef with anybody. Like, we all just love each other. And yeah, I mean, it's special that so many people around the community decide that they want to stay around here and kind of, show what this area has to offer too.
You played some high-level AAU ball with Minnesota Suns, if I remember correctly. Tell us about that and those experiences of going and playing with higher-level caliber players, and how much did that make you better in the AAU circuit?
Yeah, I mean, I'd played with North Tartan before, the second team for a couple years. I played up a year for probably 4 of my 7 years playing AAU. But playing for the Suns was completely different. And we traveled to Texas, Vegas, Ohio for 2 weeks, like everywhere. We had Gino watching us. We had it was crazy. But I think more than anything, it just it kind of helped me learn how to play with, high level talent, play with high level talent. I mean, Tori Orline, I played with, it's a completely new game. It made my regular season kind of slow down for me a little bit, but yeah, it was great. And Dre Jefferson, favorite coach I've had. He's awesome. But yeah, I mean, if anything, I also think that it helps just my confidence. It's oh, I can play with this talent, and kind of helps me become more confident for my next 4 or 5 years.
Now, I don't want to get you in trouble. You said favorite coach you've ever had. Your dad coached you as well. Are you going to get in trouble now for saying that?
I should say AAU coach, I guess.
What was that like? Tell us about that relationship. I've talked definitely with a lot of males about that. What is it like for you with your dad being your coach? How did you handle that the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously ups and downs, but I loved having him. I mean, I didn't want to play softball this year, but he's the head softball coach as well. So I came back to it because, I mean, last year was too much to do AU and softball both, but just having him coach me one last time. And it's always funny because one of my friends that I played with, she's a senior too. She would always have to nudge me during practice so that I wouldn't get him upset or because I wouldn't say be talking back, but I'd be like, so why are we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? Or why are we not running this? And then she would have to poke me and be like, we don't want to stay here until 6:30 at night. But yeah, I mean, it's awesome. Even just out of season, him rebounding for me and, coaching me, watching film with him at home. It's just, yeah, I would not be where I am without having him as my coach, I don't think.
Does he tell you he could play, that he was a hooper? Does he bring that up?
Yeah. Or? He played up a mid-G. Yeah. Yeah.
Knowing the Northern Sun and the challenge, I mean, I would say it's the best Division II basketball league around. Describe that if you're heading into that now, starting next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's so exciting. I have a lot of teammates who play in the conference, and not even just from the Suns, but from my old North Tartan teams, and it'll be fun to play against them. And just, yeah, it's definitely high-level competition, and I'm excited. I want to be pushed, and I'm so competitive, so yeah. I'm excited for that.
I want to ask, you mentioned about playing AAU ball. What was that like then transitioning back to high school? Did it seem like it was A to Z? What was that like going from AAU and then into the high school regular season?
Frustrating at times, but I mean, it's just a different game. AAU, we played very differently. We played, high speed, man to man, and then I'm from a small town, we do zone, other teams sit in zones, and it's frustrating sometimes because it's okay, so it's almost harder to score now than it was when I was playing these high level athletes. But I mean, it was fun. I mean, I love my team and I like playing for my hometown, even the crowd. Yeah.
I have to imagine it was difficult because everyone's focusing on you. They know if we're going to beat New York Mills, we got to stop you. How much of a challenge was that each night?
Oh yeah, it was, I mean, super frustrating. I mean, last year I had Ayla Olson, who went to St. Mary's to play volleyball and basketball, but we used to kind of play off of each other and we understood each other. So then they kind of had 2 people, or even some other seniors. We had Elena Bowney. She was good, but this year was different. I mean, I face guarded I would have 2 people on me, 3 people on me down in the paint. Like, it was just completely different, but I actually loved it because it challenged me to, find new ways to score. And even like defensively, it was just, I had more of a role. So, I mean, it was fun. I actually enjoyed it, even though I probably wouldn't say that a couple months ago. I can say that now. But yeah.
I got to know, I don't think I know this. Biggest rival from your mind in high school? Who's New York Mills? Who's your chief rival, would you say, off the top of your head?
For girls basketball, for sure, Underwood.
Okay.
Or in our conference, Monaga.
Okay.
Yeah. So
those are the games you got up for probably the most?
Yeah. I mean, in my high school since 7th grade, we have lost to Underwood in the playoffs 5 out of my 6 years of playing. So that's a little frustrating.
I bet.
But even this year, or last year, we lost to them. And it's like, of course, I mean, yeah, but I don't know. It's always fun playing them. I mean, it's always a competitive game. But
we were visiting off air about this becoming public and of now you're going to go to school and play basketball. What are the last few days like been, not only at school, but around town?
Yeah, I mean, random FaceTime calls and like texts from people like, hey, call me when you can. Or like, even like I come to school and it's like people stop me in the hallways and they're like, hey, congrats. Or like, it's surreal because, it makes me, excited for the next 4 or 5 years because, but they're all super supportive and I'm sure a lot of people will come to my game or like our games and stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited.
I know how good you guys are in softball. So tell me about just one last run. How excited are you to do this once the snow finally melts, you guys get out there and actually play? Yeah,
I'm excited. I mean, my dad has been coaching me for, I guess, 5 years because I didn't play last year, but we're always super competitive. They went to state 7 years in a row.
Yeah.
Of course, stopped when I got into 7th grade, but that's how it works. But yeah, we have gotten second 3 out of my 5 years playing, so that's pretty good. Almost going to state, but I mean, I'm super excited. I mean, we had I'm not going to say who, but we had a team this year that we beat in basketball, and we lost to them in playoffs a couple years ago, and they told my dad, they're like, we'll see you during softball season. So I have a feeling we're going to, bring it for sure this year. Yeah.
Wow. That's like months down the line kind of trash talking.
Oh, yeah.
For people that don't know, how big a deal is softball in your hometown?
Oh, yeah. I mean, softball and baseball, that's what my town lives for sure. I mean, baseball even went to state like 2 times in the past. I mean, they've gone a lot. And softball, we're always super competitive. So many people play. We always have tons of people coming out. I mean, we had like 2 C squads one year, which is not common at all for our size school, But it's a big deal. I mean, people come up and they support us and they show up to games even when it's like, 50 degrees outside and cold, but yeah, that's how our town is.
I appreciate you doing this. Last thing, if I would have told you this 5-6 years ago, you're going to be playing college basketball, would you have believed me? Was this part of the goal all along?
I mean, it was part of the goal, but I mean, I don't know that I would believe you. I mean, it's been a process and, there's definitely been its ups and downs, but yeah, I would probably cry. I'd be so excited. Yeah, this is for sure the dream.
Did you guys celebrate, or is that you go out to dinner or anything? Did you do that or not yet?
I mean, not yet. I have my signing today.
There you
go.
go.
I'm having my team come.
Nice.
And, yeah, they're super excited too. And I'm sure we'll celebrate in some way. Yeah.
I appreciate you doing this. Congratulations. Tell your dad I said hi, and thanks again, and congrats. And we'll see you on the court here in the not-too-distant future, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Annika Dunrud joining us from New York Mills, one of the members of the Dragon class of 2026, joining a couple other DGF Rebels. Carla always able to get the really good players from around the area to come here. Highway 10 has just been magnet, whether it be Barnesville, Hawley, Perham. You go further now with New York Mills. You name it. They're normally, if they're that good, they're going to be playing for the Dragons in the NSIC. So appreciate Annika joining us. And for those that don't know, follow. I mean, New York Mills baseball and softball are always good. Always have a chance to win section. It used to be 6A. I have to double check if that's the case, and would go to state. I follow them. They played at Target Field for the baseball title. Gosh, a couple years ago they were down there for that. We appreciate Annika giving us a few minutes here to wrap up our show this morning. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll get you ready for a pretty good Sports Wednesday, and we got to show you the first quote-unquote brawl of the baseball season. That's coming up. We wrap up the show after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Wednesday morning. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, we'll head to Vegas. Our guy Riley Swenson will join us to preview UND's game with Wisconsin, which comes up tomorrow afternoon at 4, part of one of the better sporting days on the calendar tomorrow, with the Masters getting underway tomorrow with earlier coverage. Let's go. Starting 2 hours earlier than it ever has. You're going to wonder why they took so long once it's on tomorrow afternoon. So that'll be part of a busy day tomorrow. The Twins are playing a day game tomorrow. That's the perfect day, honestly, to take half a day. Work half the day and say, you know what, I'm donezo at noon. I'm not saying that personally, but I would do that if I could, because that's a perfect day to do that. So that's coming up on the show tomorrow. Also tomorrow, I believe... Do we have it for tomorrow or Friday? I got to double check with Joe Hurlburt tomorrow from Enderlin, North Dakota. Going to end his collegiate career at the Citadel. He'll join us about transferring there. That's not a school that gets a lot of transfers. Hurlburt spent the last 2 years at Davidson. He'll have one more year to play hoops. He'll join us on the show tomorrow. So looking forward to a busy Thursday show to wrap up what's been a crazy week. And we'll also get a couple more updates on Bison spring ball as they're back on the field tomorrow in anticipation of us being out there on Friday for the third to last week of practice out there. Let's get a couple more emails in we haven't had a chance to get to today. This goes back earlier. We were talking about yesterday. If the coaches in colleges aren't reined in as well, this is a joke. The Iowa men's basketball team has coached at 3 teams in 3 years. Is that a problem? If I commit to Drake and they have 3 coaches in 3 years, am I stuck? That's Ben McCollum, who went from Northwest Mo, Drake, and then Iowa. It's not a problem because the coaches have been doing this for decades. So it's only fitting that the players get a chance to have unfettered movement and go where they want to go. Coaches have been breaking contracts left and right for decades, so I have no tears to shed on that. No way. That, to me, they can go and go wherever they want. As I said back, what do they have to be reined in for? These are the rules that coaches have exploited for years, and they have. And frankly, for players, if I'm recruited by a coach to go to Drake, and then my coach goes to Iowa, I would like to go with him if he thinks I'm good enough to go play there. That only makes sense. I didn't commit to this school with this coach. I want to have the flexibility that I can go where I'd like to be able to go. That didn't exist prior to 4 or 5 years ago. You were locked in. Very rarely were athletes let out of their NLI, their National Letter of Intent. That did not happen. Now, because of the amount of court cases the NCAA has lost, that has become obsolete. Why this has become a deal is the NCAA started winning a few of these eligibility cases in court. So now they feel they've got some pathway to say, hey, we've got an opportunity. Let's do this 5 for 5. And I think it's coming, folks. This time next week, we can be talking about it. Let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. All right, What to Watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Twins coming up, trying to go 3 in a row tonight against the Tigers, 6:30 on Twins TV. Wolves are back in action against the Magic, 6 o'clock on FanDuel Sports North, third to last game of the season. And the Bison baseball team will play its first game in 3 weeks in Omaha tonight against Creighton on ESPN+. We leave you with the bizarre situation last night with Jorge Soler of the Angels who didn't like being thrown at and literally started a mini brawl against the Angels, or against the Braves last night in a wild game there. Thanks so much for joining us on this Hump Day Wednesday. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow.